The question is probably as old as humanity. Why do we age? How does tissue stay healthy and effective? When does it get sick and weaker? And why?
Perhaps we consider our body to be static, but that isn't the case. It's actually constantly renewing itself. It's in a constant flow. Today, our body is not the same as yesterday. My name is Sieweke, and I'm an immunologist and stem cell researcher. I'm particularly interested in special immune cells called macrophages.
Marseille, France. For 20 years, this is where Sieweke has been researching the basics of life.
I'm basically a very curious person. I've always been fascinated by life as such. What is life? How does life work? What are the mechanisms behind a living being, an organism, or a cell?
Sieweke and his team have dug deeply into the unexplored potential of those cells we have mainly known as white blood cells up until now. His research shows macrophages exist in all types of tissue, where they fulfill manifold and complex tasks that get decrypted only step by step.
It seems that macrophages are important not only for fighting infections, but they also generally seem to play a guardian role in the tissues, ensuring that organs work properly. In the brain, for example, they make sure that neurons are linked correctly. In the heart, they make sure that electrical impulses are transferred properly. Until a few years ago, we had no idea that macrophages also have these functions.
For a long time, Sieweke has conducted research on how stem cells and macrophages divide and renew themselves. In the meantime, his team has developed a method to replicate mature macrophage cells outside the body. Learning that macrophages share many genetic similarities with embryonic stem cells controlling self-renewal was a breakthrough. In contrast to stem cells, this self-renewal is normally deactivated through a sort of brake, a messenger substance. By releasing this brake, macrophages can be reproduced almost without limitations. And the hope is that they can be used, transferring a mechanism, changing the perspective. That is what Michael Sieweke likes to do. This is also something he learned as a German at an institute in southern France.
When I go to the cafeteria in Berlin, I'm finished in half an hour. But in France, it's different. And at the beginning, I wanted to change this as it's inefficient. But in the end, I realized that it's very important to take eating seriously, because it's an important part of life. And after all, it's also productive and effective regarding our research. You talk about things you might not talk about otherwise, and in an informal context, you solve problems much faster compared to calling a meeting to solve them.
He wants to build bridges between German and French research. Cutting-edge research was often too focused on America.
I care a lot about Europe. I've lived for almost 20 years in France. My children grew up here. I think if we could strengthen German-French collaboration, this would be a highly positive step for European research, and also for the European project as a whole.
Dresden. Here at the Center of Regenerative Therapies, Sieweke aims at taking his research one step further.
The Humboldt-Professorship is a fantastic opportunity to realize your ideas with very generous means, without being bound to particular framework or reporting conditions. It's a rarity in science for people to actually say, "Okay, we believe in you or in your idea. Show us what you can make of it."
From basic research to clinical application in order to heal diseases one day. The technical infrastructure is shown here, where cells are sorted by fluorescence, the physical proximity to other projects in the field of regeneration research, but above all, the close connection to the university hospital make Dresden a perfect location for him. In the center's clean room lab, it might be possible to reproduce human macrophages to help patients suffering from degenerative disorders someday.
We think if we can manage to rejuvenate macrophages, we can maybe help the tissue they care for, not necessarily to rejuvenate, but to stay healthy in old age.
In Dresden, Sieweke works closely together with other projects in the field of stem cell and regeneration research. As an immunologist among colleagues who, for example, study the axolotl, a regenerative wonder of nature. Success comes through working together. He is convinced of that. Research needs stimuli and room to develop.